Welcome to What's Up, Bolts. I'm Fernando Ramirez. That sunglass donning, hat wearing, Moe's drinking, son of a gun is Dan and Daygo. Dan, are you okay? Is he frozen or what? What's going on with him?
I might as well should be frozen for now.
Before we get to Dan and Daygo, the Chargers end up losing 31-17 to the Chiefs. They fall to now 2-4. The thing about this game is it was a tale of two different teams. First half, they can't slow down Mahomes. They couldn't slow down Mahomes. They couldn't slow down Travis Kelce. Mahomes passed for 321, 3 touchdowns. In the first half, Travis Kelce has 9 receptions for 143 and 1 touchdown. Second half, they commit a fumble. They punt 3 times. Chargers can't take advantage of it. The offense couldn't take advantage of it after scoring 17 points in the first half. It's like what we've been seeing. The Chiefs defense clamped down in the second half, and they were able to slow down Justin Herbert in this offense. And unfortunately, McCole Hardman, everybody was wondering, when is McCole Hardman? Everybody was wondering, when is he going to make his stamp? He's going to do something in this game. Well, he did it on a 50-yard punt return that set up the Chiefs to put the dagger in this game. But all right, let's see now. It's a minute and something and 20 minutes and 20 seconds in. Let's see. Dan, are you there?
It's just unbelievable, dude. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say.
Oh, hold on. We're getting breaking news. We're going to Taylor Swift now. Over there. Are ready?
Now you're really trying to piss me off because I can't believe I have to watch a game where they're panning to the freaking booths so often. Like, dude, I don't care. Why am I getting updates from ESPN and all these other idiots about Britney and Taylor Swift? I don't care. Twitter also, it's just a mockery of the game, Frown. It pisses me off.
All right.
Okay.
Go ahead. No,
I was going to say, are we going to get into the game? I'll let you lead it. That's fine.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get that off my chest. I'm sick of the NFL panning up to the stands. I get it. There's famous people up there. Show us once or twice and we're good. I don't need to see them every single time Travis Kelce scratches his ass or whatever else, dude. Like, I'm good.
So obviously, the Chargers offense, the Chargers in the first half, they were running the football efficiently. Let's start off from the beginning. Obviously, the Chargers offense struggled to really get going. They won 5 plays. They punted after 12. Then the Chiefs went right up the field like everybody was guessing, and but they settled for a field goal after Mahomes couldn't complete a pass to McCole Hardman. Chargers matched him with a field goal. Then in 5 plays, the Chiefs go up there and a 46-yard connection with Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Dan, before this game, Marquez Valdes-Scantling hadn't really made an impact, and in this game,
of course not, Frown.
He had
a big team does.
He had a big impact. He had 3 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown. 46 of those came on that big 46-yard touchdown. The Chargers, though, right away matched them with a 49-yard run by Josh Kelly. And what was key there was Everett and Slater. He ran through their side. They were able to open up the hole. He takes off and scores a 49-yard touchdown. Good play by him. But then he really wasn't featured the rest of the game as much. So that was kind of a head scratcher there. But then the Chiefs come back. They score on Rashee Rice 6-yard touchdowns. Chargers say, hey, we're going to match that too. Chargers go up the field after a 60-yard conversion from from Herbert to Palmer. Everett scores a 7-yard touchdown. On that play, or on that drive, there was a 1st and 10 on the Kansas City 9. And again, a little bit of miscommunication between Herbert and Allen. And I know Dan is very critical of Tony Romo, but even there, Tony said, on that one, dude, there's no reason to be overthrowing Keenan. He's like, he should have just dropped it in his bread basket. And for some reason, Herbert, I don't know if it was because he was consistently getting pressured all game long. I don't know what it was, but he put a zip on it when he maybe should have put a little bit more love and tender care on it.
Yeah.
But do you kind of feel like, we'll stop it right there, but do you kind of feel like the pressure starting to get to him a bit? Like, not the pressure of everything outside. I'm talking about the pressure from, he got whacked against the Raiders. Yeah. He got whacked against the Raiders last week. The Cowboys defensive line and Micah Parsons were all over him. Then it seemed like Kansas City was all over him again on Sunday.
this is exactly right. A defensive coordinator's dream, because you can tell he's starting to rush these throws. How many times did I tell you when we're watching the game, Frown? Obviously, I'm gonna keep it PG, but I said,
You
I
know
said,
what's
damn it.
good. Just don't get all rated all like your boy
Exactly.
Xavier Woods.
Exactly. But I was like, you could tell he started locking in on Keenan some of these times, especially when it was third and short and stuff like that. You could tell his helmet only moved towards where Keenan was a few times. You could tell he's starting to rush passes. I think the pressure is starting to get to him. I think the offensive line, everyone believed they were going to be better. They haven't. They haven't been, especially not in crunch situations. They've been very inconsistent in the sense that, like, they'll look good in a half or on a drive or whatever, and then it's like adjustments are made and they just start going, putting their heads in the dirt like they're ostriches or whatever. And it's like there's a few times where I'm watching and like some of these offensive linemen, their feet stop and they're standing straight up. It's like, dude, you got to keep working through and everything else. You know, I'm surprised they didn't put Chris Jones on Trey Pipkins more often. That's one thing I was surprised about, because
the right side of the offensive line, I think, has struggled.
Yeah, I mean, they all have. I think they all have a little bit.
Well, Rashawn Slater's dealing with that ankle injury.
That's not easy. But it's like either way, if he's in the game, he's got to try to perform. And there was a few times where he was kind of collapsed in the pocket a little bit, and I think that's been the biggest problem. I think the defensive line, opposing defensive linemen have done an excellent job in rushing with gap integrity to collapse the pocket. Because if you notice, there's nowhere for him to step up and there's nowhere for him to peel out to half of the time. So they've been doing, the opposing teams have been doing a good job at that. But it's like we go back to the same thing where it's like, okay, if the pocket's collapsing and you can't really have them sit back there, why are you not trying to get faster routes open, some rubs or whatever to get guys open? Or why isn't he throwing away the football, dude? What he can't do right now is take hits. And that's been my biggest problem with them. And I've said this multiple times on the show. Don't take hits. Freaking throw away the football. Or sorry, throw it away. Get it out. Make sure no one intercepts or anything like that. Don't force it. But there was a time right now where Herbert tried to make a play, and I think it was like 2nd and 5 or 3rd and 5, or I don't remember, or 1st and 5, I don't remember, but it was like short yardage. Tries to make a play, ends up getting sacked, losing 10 yards. And it's like, dude, sometimes you just got to live to fight another down. Like, we get it. You're the son of Odin and everything else. But that's one thing I would like to see a little bit better. I think another thing also, they might need to start chipping some of these ends who are giving these guys problems. You know what I mean? Like, there's just got to be a smarter way to get protection, because I don't think sometimes when they try and put these tight ends there, they're not blockers to begin with. So you try and put a blocking tight end on a defensive end who, is pretty solid. It's not going to be a good result. And obviously, we talked about it again in the game. Joshua Kelce looked like he was getting some productive runs. I don't know why in the second half you didn't see him at all. I mean, the guy had a 49-yard touchdown or whatever it was. I don't know why they didn't go to him a little bit more in the second half to see what could happen. I think the other thing that was interesting to me is, like, I understand, if Austin Eckler is going to be limited, why wouldn't you use him more in the passing game than the running game anyway? There's less physicality in the passing game. All you need him to do is get open on a quick route and just sit or whatever. Like, you don't need him taking as much abuse as you would need him to if you're trying to run between the tackles. It was just offensively, and I'm going to say this again, I think I said this last week against the Cowboys. It looked a lot like a Lombardi type offense in the sense that, like, in the first half they score points, and in the second half they're just
no adjustments.
The defense are getting stops. I mean, mind you, well, actually, no, they did get stops, like I've mentioned before that they did last year, but just offensively they couldn't put it together. So I don't understand what's the miscommunication there or what's going on, but you essentially brought in Kellen Moore to be your second half points guy. So I don't know where, what the drop off is or what's going on in there in those rooms. Obviously we're not in it. Yeah.
No. It's easy.
No.
No Mike Williams, no Corey Linsley.
Oh yeah.
I know it sounds like an excuse, but it's a God honest truth.
Yeah.
Both of them missing just has completely turned around this offense. I remember I wrote after the Minnesota game. I'm like, before the Minnesota game, I'm like, wow, okay, in the second half, they've really scored some points. Even in the Minnesota game, my bad. Yeah. They've scored a lot of points. blah, blah, blah. And then we find out the Mike Williams news, and you're like, oh, crap. Then you hear about the Corey Linsley stuff, and you're like, oh, shoot. Like,
Yeah.
it is
There is a
those two
feel.
guys. Because Mike in Kansas City, he loves playing in Kansas. Like, he plays well against the Chiefs. And here it just they struggled to put drives together in the second half. That's what I wrote about. But the play that I think you're thinking of is Herbert drops back, and he got sacked by Aminu on this play, but he kind of like looked at, I think it was either Joshua Kelly or it was Austin Eckler. I think it was Josh Kelly. Josh Kelly went out for a pass, and Aminu just came in free.
Yeah,
Herbert,
exactly.
That's one that you said. I remember you said Herbert needed to throw that away, but I think at the same time he thought to him, like, I know he looked at Josh Kelly like, dude, like, at least do something when he's coming at me. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So it was just one of those games. But I wrote about this, like, in the second half, the Chargers failed to convert anything. They had an interception in the first half. They had a fumble recovery in the second half. 0 points came away. The Chiefs punted on 3 straight drives. The Chargers went 3 and out in those 3. And then the the Mecole Hartman 50-yard return that set up that game-clinching touchdown. So it was a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like, the first half, the offense is doing well. The defense can't do anything. Second half, the offense can't do anything, and the defense. I think that interception kind of deflated the Chargers.
Of course,
where Herbert's in the red zone. They're in the red zone. He throws a pass to he was trying to hit Parham. I thought regardless that was going to be either batted down, or maybe he was going to throw it a little bit higher, so either Parham could get to it and that was it, or something. But it hits off of the helmet. It's intercepted by L'Jarius Sneed. And that was basically it for the offense. The offense just couldn't muster up anything else moving forward. But let's go real quick to Brandon Staley, and let's see what he had to say after the game. Because it's not a good look moving forward if the defense can't do it in the first half, then they do well in the first half.
There's no consistency. That's the biggest problem. There's no playing as a single unit, all 3 phases of the game, as coaches like to say. They're not doing it because it's either the offense is elevated and they're scoring and they're unstoppable, or the defense is bending, not breaking, getting stopped. So they haven't really been able to put it together these past few years. So
all right, let's see what Brandon Staley had to say.
Oh, Facebook.
Not execute in pass rush or pass coverage in the first half. Far too many explosions, and that ultimately is my responsibility, and I didn't do a good enough job. Thought in the second half we made good adjustments, played much better, but there was a lot of damage done in that first half, and just didn't do anything well enough in the first half. We played plenty of man in the first half too. Yeah, they're tough. They're a tough tandem, whether you play man or zone. I think a big factor in the first half were the loose plays by the quarterback. I feel like, no matter what scheme we were in the first half from a coverage standpoint, man, pattern match, zone, he was able to create plays, post snap, outside the pocket. And then we didn't tackle the catch, which is a huge emphasis. So it's my responsibility, and I didn't do a good enough job. We were making them. We just, tightened them up as the game went on. And again, I think our plan going into the game, we didn't execute it well enough. And in the second half we did, and it was a lot better. Say it again. We wanted to populate the middle of the field. Wanted to have as many people in the middle of the field as possible.
What do you think there when he says, I wanted to have as many people possible in the middle of the field? I think that they were asking about Travis Kelce and the way he kind of attacked it. Because I know you were getting kind of frustrated watching that because obviously you thought, oh, well, most of us would think you would just line up Derwin James or maybe a linebacker on him, maybe a safety over the top.
Not a linebacker, dude. I think
no, linebacker in front and a safety behind.
I think you would. I might have doubled him the whole game, to be honest. No, 100%. But it's like I think if you put Kendricks on him, he might be able to outrun Kendricks for sure. That's
No,
what I'm
I know,
saying.
but
I would
no, I
rather
know.
have Derwin because I think he gives you that versatility where the guy's, massive. He's just as big as he is and as athletic and everything else. But when it comes to that, like, I understand what he's saying, that they're a good tandem and everything else, but it's like when going into this game in my mind, like, and again, I understand he's in the NFL and I'm not and everything else. So before everybody starts on that, let me just upfront tell you that one. But it's like my whole game plan is not to let Travis Kelce beat the Los Angeles Chargers. Like, in my mind, let the running game beat you. Let the freaking supporting cast beat you. Let Sky Moore beat you. Let whoever you want. But to turn this into like a type of 7-on-7 game where Mahomes throws for 400 yards or whatever it was, and Kelce makes up half of those yardage, like, that's unacceptable in my mind because what good is it if you stop the run or these other guys if that's not even the primary point of strength for this team? He's going to want to get to Kelce. And I understand you can't create a lot of pressure for him, for Mahomes, because either he'll find the receiver or he'll escape, right? And I understand that. But it's like, dude, in my mind, I would have, taken Derwin James and manned him up the whole time. And the other thing is, I would have either had a safety or someone else in the area to help him out, like either over the top or underneath. That way he just gets oh no, I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying, like, in the sense of, like, Derwin would be on him the whole game. Like, almost like, you remember how Darrelle Revis would travel with guys?
See, the reason why I don't think you could have done that is because you would have had undrafted free agent AJ Finley and Dean Marlowe on the field. If like you have, like, I think Alohi Gilman, maybe you could do that, but I mean, I get where you're coming from. I know where you're coming from. You're saying, like,
I'm going to take
you would rather Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Rashee Rice.
Yes.
You'd rather those guys beat you.
Yes. I would rather lose to the Chiefs with Travis Kelce 0 yards receiving and 5 or 6 targets, and Sky Moore 50, the other one 60, and the other one 70 or whatever. I can take that because you know what? I took away their strength. We obviously either didn't have the right guys in there or whatever else. You can move on with that. You can, try and make adjustments to that. But for you to let their point of strength have a field day, like, that to me is unacceptable in my mind. Like, you've got to take away the team's strengths. Like, I don't understand this. And the other thing, again, I'm not a Tony Romo fan at all. Like, I every time he's commentating on a game, I almost want to mute it half the time. But we've been talking about this for weeks, and he pointed it out today on national television again. Why are they giving so much cushion, dude? That's why I don't understand. Like, I don't understand why they're giving so much cushion, especially, like, sometimes it's third and 5, and they're giving like 6 or 7 yard cushion. I don't understand that.
I think it was almost
more
10 at times.
Exactly. And that's the biggest problem, because then it just turns into a 7-on-7 game where you're just timing quick outs, hitches, slants, whatever you want. And it's just all about timing, getting the ball out fast. In my mind, if I'm going to play, like, again, if I was a D coordinator or whatever, aggressivity is 100% what I would teach the corners, where it's like, you're going to jam them up at the line, whether we're playing man zone or whatever else, jam them to throw off the timing of the route. Like, you have to be aggressive with that stuff, in my opinion, because obviously when you get past that 5 yard cushion or whatever you want, the refs get a little antsy and they want to throw their illegal contacts and all that other crap. So take the 5 yards and assault these guys at the line of scrimmage to throw off their timing and everything else. The few times I think Mahomes either got sacked or had to throw it away or whatever was because they were a little more aggressive, not letting these guys just run free. Like, that to me is the biggest problem. Like, I understand you might not have, for whatever reason, either the Chiefs offensive line is that good or the Chargers defensive line is not that good, or however you want to point it.
I saw a couple false starts, by the way.
I understand you're not going to be able to get as much pressure in there just using those 4 or 5 guys or whatever. But it's like, dude, you can't just let these guys run free like that. Especially in an Andy Reid type offense, where, again, just my humble opinion, I think timing's a huge piece of it, where you need to have that timing down, and you need to get your hands on these guys, dude. You need to not give them as much cushion. You need to give them different looks. I personally have never liked the idea of giving cushion. I don't like that stuff at all, unless obviously, like, if they had Tyreek Hill out there, I understand giving one guy cushion, but some of these other guys, I'm not a huge fan of that stuff. So That's just my humble opinion. I thought they gave up. Then the third down, dude, the 3rd and 15 or whatever it was, where they're all lined up at the first down marker. It's like his ass can run, dude. Like he can pick up 15 yards,
that was a
especially
bad
with that
play.
much cushion. Like I just don't understand some of those things. And again, like maybe I don't understand the Vic Fangio system. Like I'm not a disciple of it, but you know, that to me is just in my opinion,
trying to limit the
football.
explosive plays over the top. But
That's
I
why
mean,
you
they've
put
gotten
two
beat by
safeties,
it the
dude.
whole season.
You know what I'm saying? That's why you put 2 safeties back there. Don't bring a safety up. Let Derwin just go man on man. Keep 2 safeties back there and see what. Oh, there you go. There you go.
Uncle Joe Reedy tweeted out, Travis Kelce has had 0 100 receiving games in 13 meetings versus the Chargers between 2013 and 2020. He had 25 against other teams. Kelce has 4 100-yard games in 5 meetings versus the Chargers since 2021, 8 versus the regular league. So this Vic Fangio system, this Brandon Staley defense, it doesn't limit the Travis Kelce explosiveness. I mean, we saw, when was it? 2 years ago, Travis Kelce ended the game on a huge catch and touchdown.
Dude, it's been like 2 or 3 years in a row of seeing
exactly.
that.
Yeah, it was that Thursday night game.
Yeah, of course. Then they did it the year after, almost in the same way, dude.
Yeah, so it was just not a good
and this is my thing. And this is my thing, because people will say, oh, well, you got to catch on Derwin James, this and that. Okay, he gets a catch on Derwin James, but you know what Derwin James does better than all those other DBs or the linebackers? He doesn't get away from them. He tackles them, and there's no yards after catch. It's like, you remember that stretch he had against Derwin Frown when his numbers were garbage when Derwin was covering him. I can't remember. I think it was a few years ago or whatever.
Yeah, it was back when Gus Bradley was the
and it's
the
like,
DC.
And it's like that's what you do, dude. You put your best guy on him, and then because that's what he does. He either is going to make sure he's a black hole and nothing gets to him, or if he catches it, he's going to tackle him right there. And you don't see what you saw today, where he had like 2 or 3 big plays because he got yaks after he caught it. So
let's go now and listen to what else Brandon Staley had to say about this game.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I can't tell you why the season's starting this way, but it is. And it's no one's responsibility but mine. We've got a good football team, and we just got to go. We need to reset as a football team. We need to reset. We've had 2 tough losses in a row, but we've got a good football team, and we just got to make sure that we keep it simple. We keep doing the little things well, because this is a good group of guys. It's a good football team, and we need to get back to work.
What does reset mean, Dan? I mean, can you do it during the season? Like, what does reset even mean? Like, there's no way they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna trade for anybody. I don't see them making. I think Halloween is the trade deadline. I don't see them making a move for anybody. I don't see them doing anything like that. So what's a reset? Like, what can you really do? Because I mean, J.C. Jackson's gone. You don't have that excuse anymore of like, oh, maybe the struggle with Michael Davis and Asante Samuel Jr. is that they're rotating with J.C. Jackson, blah, blah, blah. Like, all those excuses are basically, like, those are gone. Yeah. Like, and Brandon Staley, I give him credit because, I mean, at least he's shouldering the responsibility. Like, I have to do better, but
as he should.
I mean, I think it's
head coach,
but I think it's everybody. Like, I think it falls on Kellen
100%.
Moore. Obviously, it falls on Brandon Staley. It falls on Justin Herbert as well. It falls on 100%. Everybody.
The players,
2-4, but it just moving forward, I think they have like a 13% chance to make the playoffs or something lower. I can't remember what it was, but I think now it doesn't get any easier from here. I mean, I know they have the Bears this weekend, but the Bears just blew out the Raiders, and the Chargers struggled against the Raiders 3 weeks ago. So yeah, I don't know. What does reset mean to you?
Reset means in my mind, the way you have to reset is like, I just personally, I really still don't understand like the how am I trying to do this without going too hard at some of these guys, but like I think for me sometimes it's still tough to see Michael Davis on the field sometimes, because I think he has a lot of upside, but I don't think a lot of it is translated. I just think you need to find the right rotation or right guys to get in there, because I think honestly it's tough to have Derwin back there and then you have no one else. What other DB do you really rely on? Maybe Asante Samuel. He hasn't looked bad, giving up a few plays, but I mean it hasn't been. I don't know, dude. Like defensively, at least.
Well, he gave that Rashid Rice drag route that turned into like a 36-yard gain. So I mean,
yeah,
I think both corners have struggled.
Yeah,
I think even Jazir Taylor struggled, but he had a good play today against Travis Kelce on that 1 3rd down. But
yeah,
I think all three cornerbacks have struggled.
All the DBs have struggled. The linebackers, they've been all right. Defensive line,
Eric Kendricks had that one play where he didn't really turn around in the end zone, but right before the first half.
I thought that was soft. Are you talking about the penalty?
Yeah.
That was soft. That was
today. They actually limited their penalties. They weren't as bad as they were against Dallas that's what the thing I'm telling you guys. Like on Compas on the Beat, I said it. Like I feel like referees on like when they're in prime time, like they're
trying to
out there. Yeah, they're a little trigger happy when it comes to that.
But I think the other. On the flip side, I think reset offensively, like you've got to start getting these running backs reps, and either they're going to be here next year or next week or whatever you want, or they're not. Same with, I think, some of these offensive weapons that they have. I don't know what's going on in the sense that they can't get Quentin Johnson touches, either in the open field or whatever, because I assume they try to bring him in as a yak guy. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's going on.
Palmer had 5 catches for 133. Allen 4 for 55.
Wow, that was the quietest, yeah.
Yeah, and Johnston just 1 catch for 20. And that's what I like. That's the thing. He looked for him on 3rd down. He found him. It was a back shoulder. I thought it was a great pass.
Yeah.
Good movement by him, because I think there was 2 guys around him. He was able to do a good thing, but it doesn't translate. I mean, Herbert had almost 200 yards in the first half. Second half, or my bad, he had like 150, 160, something like that. And he ends up with 259, the two interceptions in the second half. So, I mean, it's a struggle right now for these guys. And, I mean, they're kind of, in a sense, like, it's not good. And I just don't know what else they can do moving forward. I just don't see.
Because, obviously, like, it's tough now, whether you want to change players or whatever. Like, it's hard to find players who are, NFL ready and stuff like that right now. But, like, one thing I'll tell you for sure, what reset would be if obviously I was in the shoes or whatever, I'm calling, a meeting either tonight when we get back or the next morning. All the coaches, we're getting in there and we're going to figure this out together. Like, I think that's the biggest problem. Like, obviously I'm not in the room. So again, I don't know how these things happen, but I would, no idea is a bad idea at this point is what I'm getting at. Like, if a position coach doesn't like, a guy who's making this or that, and he prefers a guy and he thinks a guy who's making less or whatever could help the team, at that point, let's start rolling through it, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no bad idea at this point, because I think we talked about this, I think last week against the Cowboys. You're at a crossroads because I don't think personally the schedule gets any easier after this.
After this, they have 3 at home and 3 away. You welcome the Bears, at Jets, Lions, at Packers, Ravens, and at Patriots. So right here, I could possibly see them only winning 1 game out of these next 5. That's how hard it is. Like, going to the Jets is going to be tough. Like, that's not going to be a good defense. The Lions coming in here, I know what the Ravens just did to the Lions, but they're going to be tough. Going to the Packers, they're gritty. Like, it's grinded out games with them. It's going to be tough. The Ravens, I mean, we see what they're doing offense. Like, this Chargers defense against that Ravens offense, like, they're going to struggle. And then the Patriots just upset the Bills. Like, I mean, honestly,
especially in Foxborough.
1 and 5, they would be 3 and 10. No, 4 and 10. 3 and 10. They'd be 3 and 10 if they 3 and 9. Sorry, they would be 3 and 9.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like right now you've got to, and I think the other thing that, again, I don't know how much it's going into, but I would get back and I'd start self-scouting myself. Like, clearly these teams are picking up on something that either the coaches aren't noticing or whatever. And I would start looking through the tape and seeing what these guys are doing week after week that is making us struggle offensively or defensively. Like, I think self-scouting needs to happen. I think 100% some talks with the position coaches, seeing, do we need a change, right? Do we need to
Last-
change some of these position groups up and get other guys looks to see if they have anything that's better than the guys in front of them or whatever? But
last question.
yeah,
I've asked Brandon Staley this before, and I'll say it. I think he should give up play calling duties. I think it should go to Derek Ansley. I think he needs to focus as the head coach on the whole team and kind of do it that way. What do you think? Do you think he should give up the play calling duties on defense?
personally, right? I think I've never liked the idea really of head coaches or play callers, because I think when you're in the meeting room for an offense or defense, like it takes away from you having to manage the whole team. And obviously, like, I understand everybody's going to come at me. Well, Sean McVay, well, Kyle Shanahan, and well, this guy, that guy. And yeah, I totally get it. Some guys can do it, right? But it's like, if you've struggled with it, I think right now is the time where, in the offseason, I think you mentioned it. I don't know if you did or you didn't, about bringing in a guy to call plays. And it's like, personally, I would do that, especially as a first year head coach or first time head coach and all that other stuff. You can do that later. Like, in my mind, there's nothing wrong with a head coach, having two coordinators and then say, certain situation, hey, go run this. Certain situation, hey, run this. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Well, you don't have to go like this. You could just go like this.
Well, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, you're right. They have walkie-talkie, or they have the headsets. Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like in my mind, I would never. Like, I'll tell you right now, at the high school or whatever level, if I'm a head coach, I wouldn't call plays. I would try and manage the whole team in different situations, but I would not be a play caller, because I think the job of the head coach, in my opinion, is that of like a CEO. He has to see big picture stuff, trust, the VPs or whatever, get the right guys in there, and they're going to run their departments, efficiently and everything else, obviously answering to the head coach. And obviously, as the head coach, you have to like detach yourself a little bit, because what if Brandon Staley, because he's with the defensive players or whatever, going through iPad stuff or whatever, maybe if you would have spent that time looking at offensive stuff, he could have helped out and figure out something to help Kellen Moore out to get the offense going a little more. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like that's just my personal opinion. I wouldn't call plays. I don't think he should. I don't think he should call plays either. Like, I would rather have coordinators in there.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Well, that was this week, or this episode of What's Up, Bolts. Chargers lose 31-17 to the Kansas City Chiefs. They fall to 2-4. Before Dan and I go, we just want to wish our little sister Melissa happy birthday.
Shout out!
It's her birthday, so obviously we're so happy and we love her so much, and she's the best little sister.
She's up there. No, I'm just kidding. We only have one, so yeah, she has to be.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget, this week we will have the preview for the Bears game, so make sure that you guys are ready on Thursday. Bears. We'll have that out. I wish I could get Seth Rollins for that one, but obviously, we'll see what happens. But we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much. And again, we hope you guys have a great. I know it stings, but we hope you guys have a great week. We will see you guys on Thursday.
100%. Don't let this affect you. Have a great week. Hug somebody. Tell them you love them. Go get a meal with a friend you haven't seen in a while.
I love you, but shut up.
Seriously, all you guys.
Yeah.
Have
I love
great
you
week.
too. Yep. Okay. Thank you. Goodbye.